Hi, everyone. My name is Thuy, and I'm the Festival and Exhibitions Director of CAAMFest. We're here with Mukaddas Mijit and Bastien Ehouzan, the directors of NIKAH. They can't join us for the in-person screening, but we're so grateful that they're able to do a virtual Q&A with us in advance. Thank you so much to both of you for this beautiful film, this rare insight into the Uyghur community through the lens of Dilber and her family. And I really thought the film was so gorgeous, the way that you shot it, the subtleties, and of course, like the practice restraint that you have from frame to frame. And while also managing to shed light on so many important issues that the community is facing. Can I ask you first to share a little bit about your intention for making this film and how the story came to you?
Mukaddas?
Yeah, thank you so much for having this film because sorry, because it's a really nice opportunity to share our work, and we are always very pleased to like have this kind of um like have an audience, a festival, because a festival is really another way of like sharing our story, right? So the intention of the film and how the story came to us is I mean it can trace back to my a little bit of my own experience as a woman from this Uyghur homeland, Uyghur region, and also being in my 30s, and my parents started to, like stress out about my personal life. At that time, I was like doing my PhD. That was not really enough for the people around me, and then they were like really like, now you have to find a husband, and then everyone around me like started to pressure me to find a husband. So I found it like really um upsetting actually, but at the same time interesting for a theme, or like an issue to tackle or a story to tell. So I also from the beginning I wanted to make it as a fiction, because I thought a documentary will not portray like in a very deeper sense, that how these women, like Uyghur women at the age of 25 to 30, all this pressure that they have been facing. So the I mean the very first draft of the script that I envisioned, I wrote, is about this kind of like social pressure that Uyghur women was facing at that time. With that story, I met Bastien at the beginning as a producer. He was my producer, but sorry. With the changing of the political landscape in the Uyghur region, and we joined forces, and then we realized that actually the we have to talk about this bigger oppression, bigger pressure. So that's how we added the political background to this very intimate and family oriented and um, story.
Thank you so much. And Bastien, I know Mukaddas mentioned that you were producer, but then co-director. Can you share a little bit about how you came to the project as well?
Of course. Hi, everybody. We are very glad. I'm glad to be showing the film in your festival because it's a very nice opportunity. So, we like the film to travel. So, well, thanks again. I'm very glad. Well, when Mukaddas came with the film and the idea of the film, first, I was really curious about a woman coming from a Chinese region, which is with Muslim practices, and I didn't know about the Uyghur. Actually, I was really well on discovering what what was the background and the cultural and of the practices of life of this population. And Mukaddas came with a very um, interesting subject, which is a topic like of being, for me, like when you are self censorship, you would say. Understand when you're like, how do you deal with yourself when you have to deal with, you know, maybe a big pressure of family or community, you know, goals or, I'm sorry, my English is a bit away.
You're doing great.
So we started to work on that topic and with these patterns, you know, and Mukaddas wanted to use a lot of dance because she's a choreographer and she's an artist like musician. So and she wanted to use the dance as a way of express the intimacy of the character of Dilber. And but we tried to make that film, so we wrote the script, and I was going to produce it, but it took time. And when we were in 2018, the political landscape, as she said, just changed in China. So Mukaddas understood she will never go back to China to shoot the film we were planning to. So as I wanted to be a part of it, and because it was more ambitious, I joined Mukaddas to say let's share our skills and our vision to make a film a bit more political and more with like a medium length, like 1 hour film. So that's how I came into the direction, because I had a background of a director. So I said maybe it's going to be complicated to go to a foreign country, and a lot of so that's why we did make this alliance to do the film.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And I thought, you know, the actors were really great, just really natural. And again, like, you know, just in their expressions, like, you know, they conveyed so much. Can you share like how you found the actors? Were they first timers? Like, yeah, just maybe a little more on that.
Yeah, none of the actors that you saw in the film are professional actors, actually.
Wow.
For most of for all of them, this was the first time, except for the father. He was extra in a big production, but rest of them is like all of them are non-professionals. But the main character, the Gulnur, who played the role of Dilber, she's an acrobat. She's an artist, and then she know how to, you know, like use her body. She has been on stage for like since she was 5 or 6 or something. So she had this experience of being in front of an audience. So that was also something helped us to decide that she will be the lead role, because even though she never had an experience in a film in cinema, but we understood, like we know that she would be like professional. She knows how to like, you know, like carry herself in front of the cameras. The whole casting process was a very, very difficult one, because as I said, there's non professional actors in the Uyghur diaspora. I mean, in Uyghur region there are like cinematic industry, so there are people who studied acting at school and become professional actors. That exists, but in the diaspora, none of those people were in the diaspora. Like even even though there are a few people who has been actors in the Uyghur region, but they are not acting anymore, or they were concerned to be involved in politically oriented film, so they will have like trouble or some backlashes from the Chinese government back home, or like they will put some of their family in danger. So the whole casting process was very, very complicated. Actually, we had a casting assistant, and with him, I did like all the casting myself, and we spent like months and months writing messages, DMs in Instagram account of like young Uyghur girls living outside of the region, and asking them if they're interested, and many of them they thought like it was like a troll, or like we were like trying just to get some information from them, you know.
Right, sliding into their DMs, like it's questionable.
But that was the only way, because we didn't have any other way, and we didn't want it to make it too public, because it's a very sensitive film, and we were not sure like how we are going to successfully shoot the film, so we didn't want it to get too much attention. And a few of the people that we really liked, they couldn't be part of it because of they're concerned about their safety and their loved ones' safety in the Uyghur region, and also some of them, they didn't have I mean, safer passports. You know, they didn't have like European um, or other passports who could protect them. So yeah, in the end, we found the main characters in Europe. They're from Uyghur region. They were born and raised in Uyghur region, but they moved and migrated to Europe, and they had their passports, European passports, so we could easily bring them to the shooting location. And few of the other side characters, they're from the Central Asian Uyghur community. So that was also very interesting. But because of some of the characters, they had a different accent than the Uyghurs from Uyghur region, so I had to really like train them word by word sometimes, you know, like come back to one word to ask them to repeat again and again and again to make them like somehow sound like Uyghurs from Uyghur region. But well, sorry, that was very difficult.
Wow, thank you so much for all your work and effort into that. And, it completely makes sense. And I think it just like shows like how, yeah, for some communities, like, and when, especially when the diaspora is not very large, it's the filmmaking is much harder. And so, yeah, thank you so much for sharing those challenges. I wanted to talk about uh, the rituals. I mean, I really appreciate that we get to see so many different types of gatherings and rituals. And of course, they're centered around, song and dance and prayer. And I was wondering if you could share a little bit more about the background of these rituals and how you chose to include them into the film, and maybe how it might align with what is happening in the real world.
Yeah, I mean, the Uyghur society is centered around rituals. Like everything is related to some kind of rituals, from starting from birth to, death. Like um, any baby after 40 days of like when they're born, 3 days after, there's like naming ceremony, and then 40 days after, they have like babies will be shaved, like there will be some kids coming, and also like a few months after there's another one, and like when you're like young adult, there's another one, there's circumcised, like there's a lot of rituals in Uyghur society. And weddings, I mean, the main theme of this film is nikah, is wedding. So it is of course this the one of the biggest ritual that one person, someone from Uyghur society will go through in their lives. So that was really like clear from the beginning that we will have this nikah ritual in the film. And also after we shot the nikah like entirely in the editing room with Bastien and our editor Nicola, we also decided we want to keep like the whole ritual, like from the like Quranic recitation, and also to the like how the bride should not respond for the first time, like that kind of like repetition. We wanted to keep that kind of subtle details of the ritual. So that's also a way to share, like bring audience members into the core of Uyghur culture and the core of Uyghur, like society. And the other rituals, especially the one with the under the holy tree. So And that's a kind of homage to holy sites, because in the Uyghur region there were many holy sites all across the region. It was a kind of roots of Uyghur spirituality, and also lots of these holy sites are connected to womanhood actually. A lot of women will go there and they will pray for or ask for having children, or like a love, like better love life, or like they want to bring their husband back home, like this kind of a lot of things, a lot like Uyghur women dealt with their doubts, their problems, and their the difficulty of life with these rituals.
All good. I know you're still recovering. I wanted to say that there was one scene towards the end when the family really wanted to carry out the nikah ceremony, and the other, I think it was the sister or another character, said that, that it was forbidden right now, and the one of the other, and then the auntie was like, but we have to do this as part of our culture. And so I think, like even in that scene, like again, like these, short, small exchanges, like so much is happening and being conveyed, and I think you did a really great job in that scene conveying like how important this is for this community and this ritual is.
And also it was like the film was it was we set the background of the film to 2017, and it was the beginning of this major political change, and the how the Chinese government suddenly like making the oppression like more severe to and also these kind of rituals which were like for centuries, for like for so many centuries being a part of a daily life, suddenly becoming a criminal, like a kind of becoming like something that you can have like criminal charges for.
Yeah.
So for people who was living around 2017, they would never imagine that would be possible, like to be like condemned to get 5 or 10 years of sentences because you had your NIKAH ceremony.
That's crazy. But that's the reality of what's happening. Um, I would love to talk about the role of technology in the film, and we see it being used both ways, right? One as surveillance of the community by the Chinese government, and then on the other hand, for Dilbar, this is also her. It's a window into a wider world of possibilities. And I love that, like she's talking to her friend every day, and so there's always this exchange between them. But so I was wondering, how has surveillance in the Uyghur community, I guess, alter the way we see these community rituals being carried out? And then also, how do the conditions of surveillance impact how you've made this film or how you are choosing to show this film?
Do you want me to say a word, Mukaddas? Yeah, well, surveillance is the main topic on what we were like doing, but the role of technology is, I mean, that's how we met with Mukaddas on topics with, for me, global on the way of going on telling a story, because like what happened is peculiar to the Uyghur, that very Mukaddas will talk about that better than I can. Well, I can do, but like using a smartphone every day in your daily life. I mean, like for any kind of I don't know, action you're going to do, or to chat with your friends, or to be is really like a sign of liberty in a way. That's right, and that can be in France, or that can be in England, or in China, or whatever. This is common to everybody now, that we have a chance to be gathering with people that are far away. And but meanwhile, what it's I mean, this same technology can just jail you because you are going to share data and thoughts and very, secret things for you that can just, in the case of the Uyghur community, it's tend to be against you. Um, so for me, that was like a universal thought and gesture to say that okay, technology is something we have to be educated to. That's how I came on this topic. And then when Mukaddas told me, okay, look, uh, you're in France and everything, but uh, what happened in the Uyghur region today, we were in 2018 or 19, said, okay, this is a lab of what is going to be worse, like a dystopic world that, you don't want that. And then that's what is happening in the region. Like, you have WeChat, and WeChat is everything, and you go for every application, and then I mean, like you pay with it, you talk with your friends with it, you whatever you do, and this is a total, I mean, this is a total way of being watched, and you're so that part is like we wanted to treat the liberty, which is the complex way of liberty to be able to talk with your friend and having that point. I don't know if I'm clear, but Mukaddas, you want to say something else about the surveillance as a camera and everything?
Yeah, I lost track of the original question.
The question was just talking about the role of technology and also how do the conditions of surveillance affect how you made or now share the film?
Um, so I will respond to the how we made and share the film. Of course, we were like very concerned about as I shared, like for the casting process, like a lot of people were also afraid of how their family and they will be affected by this being part of this film. Um, so I mean, we talked a little bit about location of the shooting of the film. So we wanted to avoid like the the surveillance, like the interference of the Chinese government for the shooting part. So that's also something that we had to, like deal with, um, and of course, um, I mean, as everyone know now, the Uyghur region is probably the one of the most surveilled region in the world, and also the recent observation or studies or like recent research shows that actually the Chinese government now doesn't need any technology anymore. Actually, they had like so sufficiently deployed all the technology for a few years. Now the population, they integrated this kind of surveillance. Now actually it became like a part of your daily life. So if even though like lots of um surveillance cameras now are not used, or like um the surveillance is not as harsh um as strong as a few years ago, but people are still very afraid of doing anything. Like now it become a part of their life, and I was looking at some videos that some people shared this morning, and it's a kind of gathering of few musicians and some intellectuals in a restaurant, and there was someone, a Han Chinese person, who was filming the whole thing. Like he was like circling around these people, singing and dancing, and like and then the caption was actually now people will call the police to let them come to film everything. So like everything is already documented, so they will not get into any trouble anymore. So the surveillance, I mean, it shifted from the very heavy, harsh technology to this kind of very psychological, like mind controlling and beyond technology kind of it took this kind of shape. So it's beyond machinery now. It's like in people's mind and in people's psychology.
Absolutely. It's scary to see, especially, you know, even in Western countries in America. I mean, even in Korea, like seeing like, you know, just technology is just embedded everywhere. And yeah, and so thank you so much for, you know, for shedding light on these themes and I know that the I I think we're almost running out of time. And I feel like we have so much to talk about, but I was wondering if there was anything else that either of you wanted to share with our audiences before we end.
Do I? No, not really. But the film, yeah, the film was really as well like a very nice experience of sharing because we are like I'm French because she's Uyghur. She came to France like 20 years ago, and she made a PhD you know on the Uyghur on ethnomusicology. So and she's very well, she's very implicated into uh, reflection about you know this cultural tradition, but as well as the diaspora can just create and do projects, you know, with what's happening as a situation in the Uyghur region, but as well as you know being creative for to 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 be in life and uh, and uh, and I think by showing, sharing, trying to make films together, and that was a very nice alliance we did because I think this is how we can, you know, being concerned together can make the things evolve. That's what I experienced with this film, and that's why I hope the audience will share and about our gesture. Anyway, Mukaddas, you want to say something?
Yeah, thank you. That's beautifully said. And this is like a really encouraging sharing experience. And I also really appreciate that. And also, it feels like really warm in this very harsh situation for Uyghur community, actually, that to feel like we are not alone and we have allies and it feels I mean, it feels good that we're not alone. Yeah. Although
Yeah,
the situation is really horrible, but we feel like we are heard, and by doing this kind of collaborative work, it's really important. Yeah.
absolutely. And thank you so much both for all of your work. And I'm so glad that we have this film out in the world now. And I think with this film, definitely the Bay Area and our CAAMFest audiences are going to learn a lot more about the Uyghur community than we've had before. And for me, like, I think this is my first film, you know, that I've seen, you know, from the community. And so I think and I hope that we have more. So thank you both so much, Mukaddas and Bastien, for being here with us today.
Thank you very
Thank you.
much.